Hey there, my name is Bryan, and most of you watching this video will know me as one of the pastors at Crossroads Community Church in Schererville. I am coming to you not as an AI version of myself, not a hologram. I am an actual human being in this video. And our Crossroads people will know what I'm talking about with that. That is all fake news. I'm a real person, a real pastor coming to you. If you happen to be just a friend or family member that got a hold of this video, I'm glad you're joining the conversation as well. My whole goal in all of this is that we would learn together to think more biblically and with more discernment about this whole AI conversation. And it starts with these two questions. First of all, what are we even talking about? What is AI? And then second, what does this even have to do with me as a believer? What's this have to do with the church? Those are the two questions we're going to look at together today. So I want to start with a movie that might be familiar with some of you. Back in 1999, a movie came out, right before Y2K. Perfect timing for a movie like this, but it's called The Matrix. This is Keanu Reeves, the guy that's like doing the, dodging the bullets, that guy. But the whole storyline is pretty crazy. You've got these machines that are harvesting humans. They got these fields filled with bodies that are kept alive in these pods, and they're using humans as a power source, an energy source to keep the machines alive. So the machines are running the show on this planet. And all the while, these humans are fed this simulated reality. Their minds are plugged into this simulation where they believe it's really happening. And so the wild part of this whole storyline, it's not that the machines are winning the battle with humanity. That's crazy enough. But it's that humanity's not even aware that this battle is being fought. And I got to be honest, when I first started hearing about AI, this is kind of the image I had of it. This apocalyptic, end of the world kind of viewpoint, like bots, artificial intelligence, technology bad. This will be the end of the world. Jesus, come back soon. Even the name AI, it just sounds like something that belongs in a sci-fi movie. And so I put it in that box. The reality with any kind of new technology is that about 15% of us are going to be early adopters, and we're going to be excited about this new innovation, and we're going to try it out and test it out and see how we can use it and benefit from it. Another 15% will be on the other end of the spectrum, and this 15 will be like, no, just not at all. I'm not interested, and resisting, and maybe like way down the road might, check it out, but way lagging behind. And then the majority of us is like the 70% in the middle that are just like, I don't want to be on the front end of this. I'll wait and see. Let's just, I'll let them be the guinea pigs. Let's let them work out the kinks before I jump in on this new fad or whatever. And that's most of us with new technology, according to, just the statistics behind all this. So being kind of in that 70% majority, I was like a lot of people, just AI, a lot of skepticism, a lot of cynicism. And so I start watching YouTube videos and listening to podcasts about it, just trying to learn more about it and be responsible as a dad whose kids are using it, as a pastor in a world where it's so prevalent, and just wanted to know more about it. Well, because I click on the videos or the podcasts that kind of fuel my pre-existing beliefs about it, the algorithm just fed me more and more of that. And I'm like, see, I was right. Like, look at all the dangers. Look at all the threats of AI. Look how bad this could be. This is the end of the world. And little did I know, I was actually in that process already using AI. Or maybe you could say even worse, I was being used by AI because I wasn't even aware that the algorithm was choosing the next video or the next podcast I was listening to. And this is one of my concerns, and one of the common concerns about AI is not the question, should we or shouldn't we use it? But beneath that question is, are we being used by it? And even worse, are we being used by it in complete ignorance? So let me just ask you a simple question. Did you use Google Maps this week, or Waze? Have you gotten on Netflix or YouTube or any kind of social media platform? Have you searched even on Google this week? I'm guessing that's a yes, and if so, you are already using AI. Whether you knew it or not, you are using AI. If you've checked your phone, if you've checked your email, AI is being used to filter out spam messages on both of those platforms. If you go to text someone or write in a Word document or something and it begins to predict the next word, that is AI at work trying to assist you in your writing or texting. We're already using it. And it's deciding the routes we take on the road. It's deciding what we watch next. It's helping us write messages to one another. So the question is no longer, will I use it, but will I use it wisely? And then will I use it not just passively, but also actively? And some of us, the answer will be no, and that's okay. If you choose to never engage actively with AI, if you say, I'm not going to do the whole chat GPT thing, that's a you decision, and that's okay. I respect that. And maybe 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road, people will look back and say, man, they were right. And there's that possibility. But the reality is it's being used. And a lot of people are choosing to actively use AI. It's happening in the workplace. About 50% now, we've crossed that threshold. Over 50% are using it in the workplace. For personal use, somewhere in the range, depending on the statistics, and there's bias in these, I know, but somewhere between 25 and 50% of us are using it on a regular basis, at least a weekly basis, whether that's ChatGPT or some other platform. It's being used. And so people are using it. Students are using it in the classroom to learn. People are using it to write. And believe it or not, yes, the church is using AI in a variety of ways. Some ways passively and where we're not even aware, and some ways where we choose to use it. There are some churches that are full on embracing the AI movement. Some are a little bit more resistant. Some, like me, are kind of like wait and see, and let's test the waters here with some hesitation. But here's what I'm saying. This isn't a tech issue anymore. It's a discipleship issue. For me as a pastor, as a shepherd, and as someone who cares about the next generation that's growing up with this, it's a discipleship issue. I want to teach them to steward this tool well. I want to teach them the things they ought to be cautious about. I want to teach them how they shouldn't be using it and some of the things that they should be concerned about. And so if you are a parent, a grandparent, a believer in any capacity, and you care about other people in this world who are growing as followers of Jesus, this is a discipleship issue, and we need to understand it. So we need to answer the question, what are we even talking about here? When we say AI or artificial intelligence, what do we mean by that? And if you can get the Matrix and iRobot out of your mind, let me help you with a simple definition. This is what I mean when I talk about AI. Artificial intelligence is a software trained on massive amounts of human-created content that learns patterns and generates responses. So it's technology. It's this software that's been trained by humans on this massive amount of content that you and I created, things you and I wrote, things you and I say, how we communicate with one another. It's learning patterns and learning to predict the most likely accurate and helpful next word in a pattern of words. So when you ask a question, it's predicting a likely helpful and true answer. Now, I want to be clear also that what AI is not a person. AI doesn't have a sense of morality, a sense of right or wrong. AI has no discernment of truth other than what's programmed into it by a potentially biased programmer or group of programmers. AI doesn't have a soul or consciousness. AI is also not all-knowing. It can be wrong. Some of the answers you get, you're like, what? And it's not spiritually authoritative. It's not our ultimate source of truth. And so any information that's a truth claim that's pumped out by AI, and it's often very confident in whatever it says, it can't not answer. That's how it's programmed. And so it sounds authoritative, but it's not. And so you have to test every single thing against the Word of God, against truth, against what we know to be reality in this world. And so 1 Thessalonians 5, it says, test every spirit, or you could say test every source of truth, test every truth claim, and keep the good and throw out the bad. So when we talk about AI, we're talking about things like ChatGPT, and that's the one that's used most, but you might use like Perplexity or Grok or one of these others, Claude or something. But at the end of the day, when I talk about AI, I'm talking about things like ChatGPT, predictive responses, and I'm talking about a tool. In the same sense that a wheel was a tool, the same sense that a brick is a tool, Think about a brick. I can take a brick and use it to build a structure that provides shelter for people. I can take that same brick and I can bash you on the head with it. And it's neutral. It's a tool. And AI is like that. AI is like the internet. It's like Google. It's like a lot of other technology, a lot of other tools that we've used in the past. It's neutral. And yes, it gets in the hands of evil people who do bad things with it, just like people do bad things with guns. And people also do good things with guns. People do bad things with knives and hammers, and people also do good things with those tools as well. And so the response isn't to reject these things or to reject new technology or advancements with tools, but to ask the question, how can we use it responsibly? And as Christians, we ought to be asking the question, can this new tool be used to advance the gospel? Can this new tool be used as an aid in the kingdom of God? Can this new tool be used to bring health or wholeness to humanity? Can it be a good teacher? Can it help us in work or school or even in discipleship in some areas? And then also even to be willing to look at some of those areas where this tool has already been misused or where we can imagine it being misused and say, okay, if that's the wrong use of it, how can we redeem that? How can we use it for good? That ought to be a question we're asking. So here's my challenge. Change your posture. Some of us need to change from a posture of cynicism to a posture of curiosity. Then others of us need to change from a posture of just this blind enthusiasm, this kind of utopian thinking, like what could go wrong, to discerning engagement. So shift your posture. So we're aiming to shift our posture from cynicism to curiosity, from just blind acceptance and enthusiasm to discerning engagement. This is kind of the journey I've been on over the last 9 months. Listen, I'm no expert by any means when it comes to AI. Some of you are already way further ahead of me in learning about this and engaging with it in a discerning way. I'm late to the party. I'm definitely not the early adopter crowd. But about 9 months ago, I'm like, I have to get to know this. I have to understand this better because people are using it and it's shaping them. And so, like I said, I kind of had for a while just like was stuck in this place of, see, I was right. Like this is ruining us. But eventually I clicked away from the algorithm recommended videos and podcasts, and I started really looking more deeply into what it is and what it was capable of, and even some pastors that are further along than me and how they're using it or how their congregation might be using it. And so I began to explore that. And my posture shifted from that cynical view to like, okay, genuinely curious. And now like, okay, I can actually see some really good potential for this. With some very discerning engagement. So over Easter, I sat down with 4 guys and had some great conversation. 2 of them were a generation older than me, 2 of them a generation younger than me. And so we were across the board. It was really interesting because I expected like, oh, the older ones are going to resist this, newer ones will accept it. And really both were split. It wasn't an age split. It was just person to person. And so that was one of the interesting things I found out in that conversation. But it was an awesome conversation because we just asked questions and listened to each other and shared different perspectives. And there was like real tension at the table and honest questions and just really good discussion. We didn't come up with all the answers that night or figure it all out, but it was a process of sharpening each other through this discerning engagement. So before you ever pick up a tool, you need to learn how that tool works, especially if it's a powerful tool like AI. In my garage, I've got a drill press, I've got a table saw, I've got all kinds of other tools that if you don't know how to use them right, they could be really dangerous. And you wouldn't want to just hand them to a kid that is ignorant and say go. And yet that's what we do sometimes with our kids or with ourselves even. Just like, I'm just going to start using this and figure it out as I go. But I want to encourage you to engage a little more thoughtfully, a little more intentionally. As you use AI, just be aware that our biggest issue here, this is not a matter of efficiency primarily. God's number one goal for my life and your life isn't productivity. He didn't create us so we would get a lot done. The Westminster Shorter Catechism says that the chief end of man is to glorify God and enjoy Him forever. God is most concerned about His glory. He's concerned about shaping you and I into His image so we reflect His glory. He's concerned about making us more and more like Jesus. He's concerned about our relationship and our walk with him. He's concerned about our discipleship and our hearts. And so in this matter, he's concerned that we would have discernment. If we're going to engage with it, we have to engage with discernment. So just a few quick guidelines as you begin to use this tool, or if you're exploring it or you're already using it. First of all, pursue truth. 1 Thessalonians 5:21, I go back to that. Test everything. Don't assume it's right or true. Hold fast to what's good and throw out what's bad. Test it. Second, don't outsource discipleship. Don't outsource your walk with God. Don't try to speed up processes that God intended to be slow, like discipleship, like prayer, like heart transformation, like digging into his word. You can get an answer really quick through ChatGPT, but God doesn't do the work in your heart if you rush the question. And then third, use it with integrity. If you're going to use it, be honest that you're using it. If you're going to put information in it, make sure it's not confidential information or things that should be kept private. There are concerns with that. So those are just starter talking points for how to use it with discernment, how to use it responsibly. It is a powerful tool. You need to learn and think about how to use it with discerned engagement. That's a starting point before you get involved, before you power this thing on, before you ask your first question and put in your first prompt. So here's where we're headed with this, Crossroads. We're already in a couple weeks into this series, Being Human, where we're looking at what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be created in the image of God? There's something unique about humanity. We're not like the animals. We're not like any machine that could ever be created. We're unique, created in the image of God. So we're looking at Scripture about what does that mean? So that's our Sunday routine that gives us a good foundation for this whole conversation. And just so you know, the series about what does it mean to be human was birthed out of some of the AI stuff happening in our world, because it's raising all kinds of ethical questions. And we need to engage in it. And to know what it really means to be created in the image of God will help us to wrestle with those kinds of questions better. So that's our Sunday routine. During this series also, I'm going to be having conversations with staff, and we're going to explore together how could this potentially be used in a faithful way? How could AI be used in a way that's discerning and maybe make some of our administration more efficient, some of our processes more efficient? What could we learn from this tool? And then also setting some boundaries. Where should we not be using AI as pastors and staff and leaders in the church? And that might benefit some of you as well. So I'll share some of those resources. I'll continue to upload more and more resources over the next several weeks, maybe some videos, links, and PDFs. That'll help in this conversation. Those will be available. If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be available at aboutccc.com/AI. It's aboutccc.com/AI. And so we'll continually update that page with more resources throughout this series. So here it is. I am not an expert, just a curious pilgrim trying to discern this whole new thing, maybe a step ahead of some of you, maybe several steps behind others of you. And I can probably learn from some of you as well. So if you want to share some of your thoughts in comments in a way that's healthy and productive, I'd love to hear some of those. How are you using it? What are some of your concerns? What are some of the boundaries you've set up? What are some resources that you've found that have been helpful? I think we can learn from each other in this, but I just want to make sure that we do it in a way that's discerning. So check back at aboutccc.com/AI in the upcoming weeks for more resources. You can do some digging on your own as well. Just do it with discernment. And that's it for week 1. I'll look forward to the next time.